Mm-hmm. We are in full effect. Yes, we are. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Let me talk about it. Let me talk about it. So slide this over a little bit. Mm-hmm. We are in effect. So yes, sir. Who is in the building? Know the Ledge. What up? How you doing, brother? Pels fan in the house. Modoc. What up? Mm-hmm. Who is in the building? Not much, Clutch. How you running, brother? You good? All right. Not much, Trav. How you holding up, brother? D-Wop, what up, brother? Hoops, what up? Everything good? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Niners, we are in the house. You see us with our glizzy. We're going to be ready. Yes, we will be. We will be ready. So I want to start the conversation tonight with I want to start the conversation tonight with a really interesting conversation that I had yesterday. I was on a panel, and the question that was asked, we discussed LeBron James playing in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals in 2007, where he had 20 points, but he had a pretty bad shooting performance. And because he had a pretty bad shooting performance, that means that he had a bad game. And I'm thinking to myself, he had a bad game according to James standards, right? But does that really mean he had a bad game? Well, what I mean when I say that is he also pulled down 14 boards and 8 rebounds. And in the process of him doing that, he garnered enough attention to get other guys open, to create other opportunities for other guys. And his ability to distribute, he got other guys involved throughout the game, which opened up the game for them even more. So you figure in the fourth quarter, where I think he had 8 points, but he didn't really do that much. I mean, Boobie Gibson was the guy who basically went off. And I think that's largely due to once a guy gets hot, right? Once a guy gets hot, once a guy gets going, it's pretty difficult to slow him down, especially at the pro level, right? So when you get a guy like Boobie Gibson who has gotten it going, not only has he got it going, he's playing off of James, who the Detroit Pistons are basically all over him, which is helping Boobie Gibson get wide open looks, which is helping these other guys get wide open looks because the attention is on James, especially considering what he did the game before that. All the attention is on him. So for him to also pull down 14 boards and 8 rebounds throughout that game, and when he did it, do they win that game without him doing that? I don't think so. And I used the example of Kobe Bryant in Game 7 of the NBA Finals in 2010. He's not having a good shooting night that night. In fact, it's going really bad. But Bryant, being the great player that he is, recognized, all right, listen, we're not going to win this way. With what I don't have it going tonight. With my ability to shoot, I do not have it going tonight. So I got to do other things. And what does he do? He goes and he sticks his nose in there and he pulls down 15 boards. I don't know if they win that game if he doesn't pull down 15 rebounds and create other opportunities for those guys to score, for those guys to extend plays. I don't know if that happens. Now, the thing that I want to make sure that I'm clear on is you can have a bad shooting performance. Does that mean that you have a bad night? Well, it depends on what kind of player you are. Well, what do you mean what kind of player you are? Well, is KD's, I'll use Kevin Durant for an example. Does Kevin Durant's, let's say, 6 for 24 performance, is that equal to if James went 7 for 26? I don't think so. And the reason why I don't think so is because Kevin Durant is primarily buckets. And the reason why is because he's primarily a scorer, which means that they depend on him solely for that. James, Bryant, Scottie Pippen, Jordan, Duncan, Diesel, Olajuwon. These guys do so much more. So because they do so much more, can your team survive with them having a bad shooting performance because of the other stuff that they do? And not only the other stuff that they do, would that constitute as him having a bad shooting night or a bad overall performance? I think the two, I think a lot of it has to do with what kind of player we're dealing with. And the reason why I think that is because I think about guys like Isaiah Thomas. I think about guys like James Harden. When I think about I'm thinking about a distributor, for example. And James Harden as a distributor, James Harden is one of the better distributors in the game. But he does a lot of other things. James Harden scores the basketball at an elite level. James Harden rebounds. James Harden speeds the game up, right? James Harden speeds the game up. And he does all of these things like other point guards do, like Stockton does, right? Like Isaiah Thomas does, like Chris Paul does, like Steph Curry does, like Steph Curry does. He does those things, but he might do a little bit more. So his team might be able to survive him having one of those bad shooting nights because he does so many other things, as opposed to if Kevin Durant is not buckets, we're not winning. And not only if he's not buckets, we're not winning. It's a bad shooting night, and he had a bad shooting game. I mean, he had a bad game because he didn't really do much else. So I think it's largely due to the player. When you're talking about a bad game, I don't think it's a guy specifically has a bad game. When I think about if a guy has a bad shooting performance, because it depends on who the player is, because he can help your team in a multitude of ways, not just like that. So since we're on the subject of bad games, these are, I watched that Celtic Heat game last night. And when I watched that game, these are the growing pains of becoming a great player. And Jayson Tatum is going through them. Absolutely, he's going through them. Because when you're becoming that guy, everything that you do is magnified. So I thought that the Heat did a great job in the fourth quarter when he got the ball out high of jumping him early and getting the ball out of his hands. Or not necessarily getting the ball out of his hands, but making him make quick decisions. And you can see that that there's still the immaturity there, right? There's still things that need to be ironed out and polished with him. He doesn't look comfortable yet when the double team comes, right? He doesn't look comfortable when he gets doubled out high or when he gets doubled in the short corner. He doesn't look entirely comfortable yet, as opposed to maybe in another year, 2 years, where he sees the floor a little bit better. Not only does he see the floor a little bit better, he passes the ball a little bit better. So with that being said, these are the growing pains of becoming a great player. I mean, Tyler Hero was sitting on that pass that he tried to throw cross court to White. He was sitting on that, looking right at him like, there's no way he's going to throw this over here. Turns out, yes, he is. He's absolutely going to throw this over. And he did. And he did. And these are, like I said, the growing great players go through it all the time. James went through it. Jordan went through it. Bryant went through it. Jabbar, Magic, Bird, Olajuwon, Diesel, Curry. These guys go through the growing pains of becoming a great player. And Jayson Tatum is right there with these guys in terms of, I'm not saying that he's the player that they are, not yet. but he's going through the growing pains of becoming a great player. So when I watch him where he gets doubled by Strus and let's see, who was Strus and Hero. When I watch him get doubled by Strus and Hero, right? When those two guys get doubled, when those two guys double him, I would think that him watching and watching the play develop, these two guys are going to double me. So there's going to be action off the basketball where White might dive to the basket instead of just standing at the top of the key, right? Or Robert Williams might drop to the short corner. So that might make this less difficult for me as opposed to, well, the double team's coming. I got to hurry up. He allowed these guys to speed him up. And I think these are the growing pains of becoming a great player. This is the stuff that you need to learn. And these mistakes that you're making are part of it. Now, we can't keep having these same mistakes because we're at a point now where we're in year 6, right? So you guys know how I feel about it. You guys know how I feel about players, right? So when I think about a guy becoming a great player, right? You know how I feel about players. By year 5, this is probably who this guy is. He's probably going to have better seasons, right? He's probably going to have better seasons, but you can expect what you see in year 5. You can probably expect that moving forward. Now, I think that Jayson Tatum, when I'm watching him, we can't keep making these mistakes because we're getting to a point where this is probably who he is. This is probably who this guy is. Now, there are adjustments that can be made to his game. No doubt about that. There's clearly adjustments that can be made to his game. But with that being said, these mistakes that I see him making, these are part of the growing pains of becoming a great player and not just becoming an elite player, staying an elite player. But they got to get rectified because, again, this Boston Celtics team, it's not like these guys are going to be around for the next 5 to 8 years. No. You know, you got contracts coming up soon. We don't know how long these guys are going to be around. We don't know what these guys are going to do in the next 2 or 3 years. So we got to take advantage of opportunities now. You have to take advantage of opportunities now. So I thought that they had an opportunity to win that game. I think getting Robert Williams back was big. With Marcus Smart in the lineup, with Jaylen Brown in the lineup, I think that they handle Miami, even with Miami having buckets. With Miami having buckets, I still think that they handled them. But I would like to see, I would like to see these mistakes be fewer from Jayson Tatum. I would much like to see these mistakes be fewer from Jayson Tatum. So, and since we're on the subject of fewer mistakes, I don't think that there's the amount of mistakes that I see with that Los Angeles Lakers team that I can even talk about. Because again, I've said this to you guys already, and I still stand on the logic. I will not back off of it. And it's not like I'm doubling down and I'm wrong. No. I think from a talent standpoint, the Los Angeles Lakers are the worst team in the NBA. No doubt about that. I think they're the worst team in the NBA. And I don't think it's a question. I watched them last night, and it's amazing that they actually compete. I saw James's body language. Losing sucks. Let's call it what it is, guys. Let's be honest about this whole thing. Losing sucks. And you saw him on the bench, and I understand it. Losing sucks. Losing absolutely sucks. So that would be anybody. That wouldn't just be James. Now I understand that people are more critical of James simply because it's him, but I understand it. Yo, losing sucks. If that was Joel Embiid and they were losing, I would say the same thing. Right? I would say the exact same thing. If that was Joker and he was like that, I would say the exact same thing. If that was Luka, if that was Jayson Tatum, if that was KD, I would say the same thing because ultimately losing sucks. Now I will tell you this. I think the days of James winning the NBA championship, and not only winning the NBA championship, I think the days of him carrying a team to the NBA championship, I think those days are over. I'm not on the fence about that. I'm not thinking maybe. I'm not thinking possibly. I think that those days are over. I think he's going to break Jabbar's record in the next couple of weeks, in the next month or so. He's going to break Jabbar's record. And not only is he going to break Jabbar's record, he's going to play a couple more years, and he's waiting on his boys. That's it. There's nothing else for him to do or for him to prove that he needs to. Everything else, he's already done. So, but the losing aspect of this, I mean, I understand it. Losing sucks. And when you're losing that much, when you're so used to winning, it weighs on you. It weighs on you. And he's older now. Not only is he older now, you know, as sharp as I may look, you know, his body is beat up. His body is beat up. And the great ones, when you get older and you're on a team that is whack, it's corny. Let's call it what it is. It's just not, it's not fun at all, right? It's not fun at all. So with that being said, right, I do think that the Lakers could make the playoffs. I really do. I think that they could make the playoffs. I can't see them missing the playoffs again. If AD can stay healthy, so he gets back in the lineup tonight. If he could stay healthy for the rest of the season, I mean, if we being honest, I think they only 2.5 games out the 5th spot in the West. Like 3 games out the 5th spot. I think as of last night, they were a game and a half out the. I think they were a game and a half out the 6th spot. Some nonsense like that. So I think if Anthony Davis could stay healthy, if they can, if Russ can continue to play at the pace that he's playing, if they could get Lonnie Walker back, I think that this team is a playoff team. You said that, Pels fan, you got them as a 7 seed max. Before the season started, I had them as the 6 seed. That's where I had them at. I didn't have them as a playing team. I had them as the 6 seed. So you got them right behind where I had them at before the season started. I did not have them as a 2 or 3 seed. No, I had them as the 6 seed. I'm having a difficult time seeing them miss the playoffs if Anthony Davis can stay healthy for the duration of the season. If James can stay healthy. If not only James can stay healthy, if Lonnie Walker can get back in the lineup. So I'm really interested to see how this goes. I am. Definitely I am. On that note, I'll drop the link in the chat and let's talk about it. Z-Dub, what's up, brother? LeBron that led that 2007 Cavaliers team in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. Even in Game 6, he led that team in assists, blocks, and rebounds. Second in points, and he had a positive. Clearly had an effect on the floor. Absolutely he did, Z-Dub. This is what I mean, right? This is what I mean, Z-Dub, when I talk about when guys have bad games. Does it depend? What up, Jarrell? Does it depend on the player that we're talking about? Because if you're talking about a guy who strictly buckets and he has a bad shooting night, right? And he doesn't really offer much else to the unit, as opposed to another guy who's also a scorer, but he does so many other things. And not only does he do a lot of other things, he does those things in high volume. So you got another guy that's buckets, but he's also a high rebound guy. He's one of your better defenders. Not only is he one of your better defenders, he's one of your better distributors. So he can switch up his game if this one thing isn't working. So if he's one of your better distributors, right? If he's one of your better distributors and, I'm turning the basketball over, he might need to see the ball go in a couple of times, right? Once he sees the ball go in a couple of times, he might have turned the ball over 2 or 3 times. He needs to see the ball go in a couple of times. Once he sees the ball go in, now what that does, is that attracts the defense to him, and he can be more confident in getting off the basketball, as opposed to I'm just throwing the ball in the stands every chance I get, and I'm basically killing us. And this is where I differentiate when I think about if you had a bad game because you shot bad, what kind of player are we talking about? I think that's the I think that's the thing that I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the most. So it was a real interesting conversation we had yesterday, though. Real interesting conversation that we had. What up?
Yo, I got two things. The first thing to talk about that OG, I know you noticed this because you've been watching ball for the long. OG, that I don't know if you know I think the Clippers wait outside for the Lakers every single time they play. They get the extra sleep. I'm on my ring ceremony, they beat them. I just think I'm not gonna say that's a bad matchup, but every time they see Lakers, they just beat them.
What do you mean it's not a bad matchup? They've beaten them 10 straight times. 10 straight. They own them.
Because I don't want to see them playing a playoff, then the Lakers beat them. Now I was saying, for me, I was wrong about that. But I just think that's just a bad matchup for the Lakers.
I'll be honest with you. In 2020, I was so happy that the Clippers got bounced because I didn't like that matchup between them and the Lakers at all. I didn't. I did not like that matchup between them and the Lakers at all. No, I did not.
How come?
I did not like. Well, first of all, Anthony Davis, as good as he is, and him playing on the block, I think the Clippers struggled with him, but James really struggled with both Leonard and Paul George. He struggled with both of them. Yeah. And not only did he struggle with them, they also struggled as a unit. They struggled with rebounding because Anthony Davis, you would think that with Dwight Howard, right? With Anthony Davis on the unit, that it wouldn't be that big of a deal in terms of them rebounding. They struggled with that. And the Clippers had the ability to stretch the defense. So when Dwight Howard comes in, Marcus Morris, he's basically dragging Dwight Howard away from the basket. Right? Not only is he dragging Dwight Howard away from the basket, Paul George gets switched on to Anthony Davis, and he's playing on the perimeter. He's dragging Anthony Davis away from the basket. So their rebounding suffered because of that. So I didn't like that matchup with the Lakers and the Clippers at all. I didn't. When I saw the Clippers lose, I was like, I think the Lakers can win it.
You was hyped?
Yeah, I was like, I think they can win it.
My main question to you, because you always said, but I never really got like a good answer. So you know how you said Harden doesn't love the game and why you think so, right? Oh yeah, I get why you think that, but it's very hard to not love the game and be a top 5 player. That's just like where I'm stuck at. Like I get not coming to shape, all this partying, strip club. I understand, but it's like how to not love the game and be a top 5 player. That's pretty impressive. Like I just want to know, like, can I get a sidetrack thing on why, like, how's that even possible?
There's plenty of guys who I'm good at what I do.
Good?
I enjoy what the game brings me more than I actually enjoy the game. There are guys who are, I believe the young dudes, y'all call them hoopers. Like KD is a hooper.
Yeah.
KD loves to rock. Yeah. I don't think James Harden loves to rock. I think he loves what basketball brings him. With him coming to camp out of shape, he plays himself into shape during the season, which would explain why he breaks down. So that suggests to me that this is a job. This isn't something that I love to do. I'm just really good at it. And he is really good at it. And because I'm really good at it, it shows. But the downside to that is you see what happens when we get later in the season when he starts to break down and he starts to wear down because his body isn't acclimated.
I care about that too, to be honest, when he breaks down the playoffs. I think he's like, you know what? I did what I did in the regular season. I did my thing. And when you were saying that the points thing, bad shooting game, I watched Harden drop 6 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds versus the Clippers and still win. Chill. KD, you're not winning no game with KD dropping 6 points.
You're not. That's not happening. That's not.
Dropping 6 points.
No, that's not happening. No, it's not. Sorry, it's not. If KD drops 6 points, I'm telling you right now, you're gonna have a real problem. You got a real. If KD got 6 points, you're not getting much else from him. He's either hurt or he's sick. You ain't getting much else from him. So nah, that ain't happening. All right, brother. Good to talk to you. No doubt. If KD drops 6 points, I don't think there's much else going on. I really don't. What up?
What's good, OG? What's good, OG? First time on the show. Came in and asked a quick question. Just simple.
Absolutely, brother. What's going on with you?
Everything good, man. Good day. Just a quick question for you. So, I heard you say you think the days of LeBron winning are over. Now, do you think Are you saying that because he's on this Laker team? Because if he's playing like this, you would still say he has a chance, or are you just saying that because he's in this situation with the Lakers and playing with these?
I think that where he is now, and not just where he is now, the days of him throwing the team on his back, because that's what we used to.
Right.
That's what we're used to seeing. Yo, I'll take us there. Not only will I take us there, we'll win it on the strength of me. Them days are over. And I particularly see that in Los Angeles because I think he's retiring in Los Angeles. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to retire there. I still think that there are going to be some playoff years. Like, I still think that even as bad as they are now, because, I think they're the worst in terms of a talent standpoint. I think they're the worst team in the league. But I still think that they're going to make the playoffs. I do. I still think that they can make the playoffs. But in terms of them going deep into the playoffs, I think they're a second-round exit.
Okay. Now with James, so I don't know if you consider him a top 5 player, but do you look at any of the other veterans in the league? And not trying to compare him, because of course LeBron, to me, he's on another level than any of the rest of these dudes in the NBA. Yeah. So not to compare, but he's far superior. But do you think any of the older vets in the league, do you think their chances in time is up, like a KD or Steph or any of those top players? Or do you think because of all the carrying LeBron has had to do in his career, it's a difference? Well, as far as a weight load and just, being the pressure on the body and stuff like that. Well,
we'll start that conversation with the Warriors just won the NBA championship last year, and Steph is still playing at a high level, and the Warriors are still a playoff team. And until you show me Dre, Clay, and Steph out the door when they're in the lineup, because when those dudes are in the lineup, they've been in the NBA Finals. Since 2012, since 2014, when those dudes are those 3 dudes are in the lineup, they're in the NBA Finals. So until somebody shows them the door, they're still the team to beat in the Western Conference. And Clay and Steph, even though he'll be 35 in March, he's still playing at a high level. Yes, he is. I think he's probably got another year, 2 more years at this level before he starts to slow down. But that's another situation. But in terms of this team, I can't say that the Warriors are over. And the reason why, they just won the NBA championship last year. And not only did they just win the NBA championship last year, Steph still looks great. Clay is still playing himself back into, you got to remember, he missed 2 years, right? He did miss 2 years. But other guys, like I think you mentioned James Harden.
KD.
KD. I don't know if you've ever heard, but I'm out on Brooklyn. And the reason why I'm out on Brooklyn is, and I've been out on Brooklyn, and I've been out on Brooklyn for one reason and one reason only: KD and Kyrie Irving. Do they still have the goods? Yes. But what have we seen since 2020? Right when KD gets on the crew, KD is out because of an Achilles injury. He's recovering from that, right? So that's a lost season. Irv only plays 20 games that year. The next season, KD, of the 72 games, he misses half the season because of a hamstring issue. Irv breaks down in the playoffs. Then last year, KD sprains the MCL. Not only does he sprain the MCL, we got Kyrie Irving with off-the-court issues that are bothersome to the unit, right? And they end up getting swept in the first round. So this season right here, KD got on this unit for one reason and one reason only. He got on this unit to win. He didn't get on this unit to compile stats. He could have stayed in Oklahoma City for that. He could have stayed in Golden State for that. He got on this unit to win. In the last 3 years, what has it been? It's been underperforming, and injuries. And because of that, there's no reason for me to think that there's no reason for me to think that this is going to change. KD just got hurt a month ago. He just got hurt with the same, and mind you, this injury is the same injury from before. This isn't something different. Now, when you're dealing with the same injury, now it becomes, and if it's reoccurring, it becomes even more of a problem. Even more of a problem. I don't think KD is over, but until they get to where until they get to where he came there for, I'm out on Brooklyn. So,
yeah, OG. Yeah, I just want to see James at least like one more time go for it. I want to see him at this stage in his career. No, I'm talking about LeBron. Like at this stage in his career,
it's great for the. Let me tell you something. It's nothing more. There's nothing more that the commissioner of the NBA would not love than to have LeBron James in the NBA Finals. He would love that because it's great for the league. Viewership would be up. Both the haters and the lovers will be out. The NBA as popular as it is, it would be even more popular. There's a reason why after 2018, when James got hurt, when he got to the Lakers, there's a reason why that next year in 2019 when he got hurt and he missed the season, missed half the season, and they didn't make the finals, why finals viewership went down 50%.
Yep. Dang, that's true, OG.
There's a reason why that happened. There's nothing more that this commissioner would love than to see LeBron James in the finals. This is great for business. Fantastic. So
absolutely, OG.
Absolutely, brother. Good to talk to you.
Good talking to you, no?
Yep. Yo.
Yo, what's good, OG?
What up?
All right, so I wanted to talk about the whole Jayson Tatum situation that's been going on. So my thing is that when him versus Luka thing, I remember I had a conversation with you, I think about 2 years ago, comparing Luka and Jayson Tatum, and at that point, Luka was better, of course, but Jayson Tatum starting to come up or whatever. But now I think it's more closer. But give like Luka one more year to become a good defensive player, because at his height, like how tall is he? Like 6'7", 6'8"?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that. Like I feel like he would be a good defensive player, especially on smaller guards.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he would be a good defensive player. Like give him like at least a year or so to become like a decent defensive player, and then I think like by that time Luka should be easily better than Jayson Tatum.
Right.
In my
Now
opinion.
I'm glad you brought that up, Mark, because we're in year 5 now with Luka, right? Yeah. Not only are we in year 5 with him, also he played in the Euro League for a bunch of years.
Yeah.
What has Luka shown you over the course of his career to suggest that he could be a decent defender?
Like me, I think it's just like the coaches that like he's been with so far. Like for example, Jason Kidd, he was a pretty good defensive point guard in his day. I feel like he could pick up a little something from Jason Kidd also.
Right, absolutely, he could. However, he could pick these things up, but what has he shown you to suggest that he's going to get better? Because from what I've seen from Luka, all Luka wants to do is get back to the basketball. Not only does all he want to do is get back to the basketball, you see him on switches. He's not active. He's not active on picking switches. He's not actively getting under screens or getting around screens. When his man has the ball, his hands aren't busy. His feet aren't moving. He does not seem to me to be committed on the defensive end of the floor. I think that Luka is one of those guys who's going to be an exception where he's just so much better than everybody else offensively that we're going to talk about him like that. But in terms of defense, I just don't see it because I don't think the commitment is there.
You don't think he has a potential in him to become at least like a decent defensive
They
player?
all do. They all do. That's the difference, my man. Carmelo Anthony did. Luka does. All of the James Harden does. All of these guys have that potential. The question is the commitment there? And over the last 5 seasons, what has Luka shown you to suggest that the commitment to getting better defensively is there? Because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, OG. Yeah.
Yep.
Most definitely. Thank you.
All right, brother. You know where to find me. You know where to find me at.
Yo,
let's kill the fake debates. Let's dead all of that nonsense.
Yeah,
that's what I want to do. Let's dead all of that. That's what we doing here. We killing fake debates. Let's dead that. If we're gonna talk about the game, let's talk about the game. Let's get that garbage out of here.
Yeah, look,
please.
OG, you know how we gonna come. We talk real takes on fake debate. OG, no, OG. Too. Speaking of that, too, I'm getting ready to launch it, and I'm gonna need you as a guest because I need because that's the whole point. And you embodiment of real takes on fake debates. And honestly, I think Luka is getting a little too much of the hype of getting overrated. I'm gonna explain because honestly, you just literally said everything I want to say. Because I'm just like, I've been seeing people putting Luka over a young Bron, a young KD, even Tatum now. But I also seen Bron, Tatum, and KD play different roles of a team and still be successful and be a winning basketball team. I see KD. We need you to be a more defender. No problem. Let's go do that, James. I need you to be more of a scorer. No problems. James, I need you to be more point guard. No problem. Lock down. Tatum. All right, you the number 2 because we got Kyrie Irving. No problem. All right, now all of a sudden he get hurt. Can you take over and be the guy? No problem. All right, can you take the shots? Now he's gone. Be the number 1 guy. No, matter of fact, Our point guard injured. Play the point guard. Can you do that job? Can you lock down? I don't see that from Luka. All I see is Luka. I just see James Harden in Houston.
See, and that's not going to get it done. It's not.
It's not going to get it done.
It's not. It's not going to get it done.
People talk smack to me about my Chicago Bulls by playstyle, which I hate because DeMar DeRozan does the same thing, and they say that's not winning basketball. That don't work. But then go right to Luka and be like, "Yeah, Luka could just take it to the next level." I'm looking like, bro, y'all not watching the same game.
SB, you got to remember. You got to remember the time that we living in now. That's the thing that you got to remember. You got to remember the time that we living in now, and you got to remember what this thing is all about. This thing is all about guys shooting the long ball. This thing is about the game being faster and scoring is up. There is no guy, and if you notice, there is no guy that you go, yo, this dude defends. Yo, this dude. That's far and few between, as opposed to the guys who are buckets. How many guys have we talked about in today's game where you can say this dude does this on this side of the ball and he does this on this side of the basketball? Not many. In fact, most of the guys that you talk about are on this side of the basketball. So that's what the game is today, right? But the downside to that is they get exposed in the playoffs, don't they? Shine that light on them, right? Put them in that interrogation room because we have an opportunity. That's why we have an opportunity to just focus on you. This is why I have such a big problem. Like when people talk to me about Brooklyn, we can't hide Ben Simmons in the playoffs. We can't hide him. We can't hide Joe Harris in the playoffs.
No, you cannot.
We can't hide Seth Curry in the playoffs. I thought Atlanta did a great job of that 2 years ago when Seth Curry was in Philadelphia, when they exposed him with Herter. So these are things that you can't hide, right? So when I think about a guy on one side of the basketball as opposed to the other, I care about the complete player. I care about him.
Yeah, and then you have to care about that because, like, I get Luka as a top guy, top 5 player, but right now, if I'm building a team, because everybody's so quick, I'm taking Luka. You don't know who you got on this roster, because if I got another guy who's great with the ball in his hand and Luka not going to have the ball, where his value going to come from?
Right. That's the other thing, because I hear a lot of people, because again, you got to remember you got to remember the era that we're playing in. You know, can you play off the basketball? Well, wait a minute. How many guys are playing off the basketball? Most of the great players that you guys, I don't mean you specifically, but most of the great players that y'all talk to me about are great with the ball.
Yes, sir.
They are great with the ball. I hear all of this nonsense about, Steph Curry off ball, his off ball movement. Like Reggie Miller wasn't running off 1,000 screens. Like Rip Hamilton didn't constantly move. But all of a sudden, Steph Curry off ball playmaking is now amplified. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know if that logic works. Most of the guys today that are great players play with the ball. These are the guys that you talk about playing with the ball. Luka is one of the better players. Luka can't play off the ball, and you don't want him to play off the ball. You don't.
At all. No value.
You don't.
At all. And then also, you was chopping it up about LeBron not being the number one guy, but like top guy no more, can't carry 10. That's 100% fact. It's just that he's so loved, everybody just don't want to let go. You know, when you such a fan and you see that guy and you cheered on, like my favorite player, I told you before, Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose got hurt on April 28th. That's my birthday. I canceled all the plans. I said, bro, I'm not going outside. Bro, it's your birthday, bro. D-Rose playing, the Bulls playing. We go out in the weekend, playoff game. To see my favorite player get hurt, it hurts, bro. It hurts.
Yeah.
But that's why I always tell people, don't put LeBron as a top 5 player, because then you open up that criticism. Honestly, I don't even put LeBron in the top 10 because I just feel like he at the point in his career, he should just be able to coast off, because once you say LeBron the top 5 player, top 10, now the expectation, the criticism will come and be like, why this team ain't in the playoffs? And we know, besides delusional Lakers fans and delusional LeBron fans, you looked at that roster and it is god-awful. Thomas Bryant, Scottie Pippen Jr., Terrence Brown. Honestly, this was the
Thomas Brown, sure.
This was the Washington Wizards with Bradley Beal. It's just LeBron and AD ain't there. So, and that's what people don't understand. If this roster is god-awful, LeBron cannot carry no god-awful team no more. And if you ask him to do that, he's going to get hurt. The man just put up 46, and they had no chance in hell to win the game.
Did you see him on the bench?
Pissed off. And this another thing, LeBron fans, y'all got to understand. LeBron is conceited in the fact of 2 things. He wants to coast off and make it to his boys, but he hate losing. And everybody says LeBron should lead how he want to lead. LeBron want to lead by how he want to lead, but he don't like losing. It's hard to say, like, yeah, I'm just coasting, my boys get here. He can't do that.
No.
You can't. It is like, I know we fought Bron. I know a lot of you. I know you, Bron, your boy. I know you fought for his body language, but it's hard when you try so hard. And he probably come to the realization like, I might still got it, but I can't win. I don't got that.
Losing sucks. Losing sucks, yo. Losing sucks. It does. Losing absolutely sucks. So no doubt about that.
Another case I want to put on is like, it's crazy how when like if I would have said that, because I didn't look at the comments, so I know probably people snapping on me saying I said LeBron they top 5 or top 10. All I argue is I seen Bradley Beal average 30 2 years in a row.
In a row. Not once. He did it twice.
In a row. Everybody say he's not a top 10 player because he couldn't make the playoffs.
And by the way, the 30 that he was averaging, wasn't a lot of people averaging 30, and this wasn't that long ago. This was like this was like 3 years ago.
It was only him and other people, maybe.
Right?
One.
And it wasn't like the league was just littered with dudes averaging 30 a game. No, they wasn't. Yep. That was not going on. No, they weren't.
Now, did anybody say Bradley Beal was a top 10 player?
I never heard that one time.
Never heard
Bradley Beal. I did not. Not one time. So
we're gonna chop it up.
Yes, sir. You know where to find me at. I like it. What up?
Yo, OG, what up?
What up?
Now, listen, I heard a little bit of the Luka criticism, and, I have to agree with the defensive part. But on the other hand, like, you want Luka to have the ball in his hands all the time because, I mean, he got Dinwiddie, he's nice, but then he got Christian Wood, he's all right, but he don't got a teammate, really, to make a push,
Right.
And that's what I don't get when people say, he's selfish and he has the ball all the time in his hands. Like, that's the only chance to win in the Western Conference today.
You want him with the ball in his hand. That's his game. That's who Luka is. There's no getting around that Luka doesn't have. You don't want Luka playing off the basketball. That's not his game. That's not his game. That's like saying you want Joel Embiid playing on the perimeter. Where's Joel Embiid the most? Where is he the most effective? Right. That's like saying you want Anthony Davis playing on the 3-point line. That's not where he's the most effective. You know where Luka is the most effective. Luka is the most effective when he has the basketball. That's where he is the most effective. And
yeah,
because he's the most effective there, he gives them the best opportunity to win. Now, do I ask him to do more on the defensive end? I just want you to be solid. That's all. And I don't think that the commitment is there. I just don't.
But I mean, what do we give him? Like, he's 6'6", got maybe 220. Like, he has the potential to be at least all right on defensive end. Like, I feel like it's just effort for him.
That's all
it's just effort.
Listen, Oz, I can teach you footwork. I can teach you how to block out. I can teach you how to slip block outs. At the end of the day, if you're a rebounder, go stick your nose in and go get the basketball. I can teach you how to get on the line, up the line. I can teach you how to get in the passing lanes. At the end of the day, drop your ass, get your feet moving, get your hands busy.
Yeah,
that's it. That's it. So if the effort isn't there, right? If the effort isn't there, then the rest of the stuff won't be there neither, my man. So,
but on the other hand, like, I see the James Harden comparison. Like, the playstyle is very similar, but on the other hand, like, James Harden in the playoffs, I mean, he always had a drop. And I watched his Houston years, and I love James Harden for real. But if you look at Luka in the playoffs, I mean, he's completely different. Like,
yes, he is. Yes,
he take games over, and that's why I feel like you can win with his play style because he steps up in the playoffs, unlike James Harden.
I can't argue that, no doubt. So, all right, Oz, good to talk to you, brother.
Nice talk to you. See you.
Yep. You see good size gap from Luka and Tatum? No, I don't see the good size gap, Andrew. Knock it off. Because if he doesn't turn that basketball over last night, you are not in here talking this bullshit to me. You are not. You are not in here talking this nonsense to me. You are not. He actually had a good game last night. But the fact that he turned the basketball over, when he turned the basketball over, that's going to be magnified. These are called the growing pains. These are called the growing pains of becoming a superstar. Now, I will tell you that my patience with him turning the basketball over is getting thin. This isn't something that I'm trying to hear in another year. And I'm not trying to hear that. It's getting thin. But I'm talking about a dude who's in year 6. I do know that. I know that this is a dude in year 6. I'm sorry, he's in year 5. So he's getting there. But my patience is growing thin. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not buying the logic of, well, he is how Luka picked apart that defense. You keep telling me that Luka is better than Jayson Tatum. That's not news. Nobody is disagreeing with that. Nobody. I'm not disagreeing with that. There is nobody that I know who is disagreeing with that. The problem that I'm having is that you have this gap like this, and it's not like that. That is not true. I watched this guy improve. I watch how much better he's gotten as a playmaker, as a passer. He needs to do a better job in taking care of the basketball. Yes, he does. No question about that. But the other stuff has gotten better. That's another part of his game that he needs to fine-tune, and he will. Now, is my patience running thin? It is, but I'm still on board. Unlike you.
What's up, Chill? How you doing, bro?
What up, brother?
You seem pissed as hell, man.
Because I'm tired. Because the problem that I'm having, man, is I'm so sick of this logic where you have players who you don't recognize how much better they've gotten. So to watch Luka Doncic, right? I watch Luka, and Luka is a hell of a player, my man.
He is.
I'm not saying that Luka is a good player. Luka is a hell of a player. But to watch Jayson Tatum develop, Jayson Tatum is not the same guy. Jayson Tatum is not the same guy today that he was.
Significantly improved compared to what he was.
Significantly.
Look at his defense. Look how he's attempting the threes. Look how more efficient he's getting. Look at how more assertive that he is. Jayson Tatum, my only problem with him, the turnovers from time to time, as you've mentioned, that's my only issue with him. But other than that, his game has improved. I mean, if you want to make an argument for Jayson Tatum as far as with the MVP, right, you could. Although it's still to me between Luka and Jokic. That's how I look at it. But I think because of voters' fatigue, they'll probably give it to either Luka or Tatum. But Jayson Tatum has significantly improved compared to his rookie season. So I don't understand that nonsense what people are doing. Anyway, and I want to go ahead.
To add to your point, and I'm going to definitely get to what you guys. To add to your point, when you significantly improve, the gap closes.
There's no huge difference.
Right. When you're significantly
but a small difference.
Right. When you're significantly getting better. It's the difference between getting better and significantly and noticeably getting better. Like, wow, he wasn't doing that before. He's gotten a lot better at that. Wow, right. Wait a minute. He didn't do that before. He's gotten a lot better at that. But this guy, well, I already saw him do that. This guy looks like he's catching up to him. So, as you were saying, my man.
No, it's all good. First of all, I want to say thank you that your 49ers beat the Cowboys because I can't stand them damn Dallas Cowboy fans. As delusional and annoying as they are. My thing is, I actually got the 49ers beating Philadelphia, although that is not an easy task because of that crowd, that atmosphere there. I think Brock Purdy, as long as you ask him to take care of the football, and I agree with you. As far as Jimmy Garoppolo, he's a better improvisational player than Jimmy. And I think at some point, San Francisco, you may have to revisit trading Trey Lance because if Brock Purdy continues to play like this and delivers the chip, you may going to have to revisit that conversation. But with the Cowboys, I've said this to people. Jerry ain't firing Mike McCarthy. Even if he's not. And he's not getting Sean Payton because the bottom line, Jerry Jones wants final control. He wants final say. What do you do with Dak? Do you trade him?
Well, the first thing is I'm gonna double back. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on even if we won the Super Bowl. I think we got a quarterback controversy going in. I'm down for Purdy and Trey to battle for the spot.
Yeah, because you did trade up in the draft to take
that's the only reason why. If he was a late first rounder or if he was a second round pick, that's something different. But if I got a guy who is doing what Purdy is doing, and I got Trey Lance, who I didn't think was ready, I'm down to let them battle for the spot. That's the first thing. I think he did a great job in taking care of the football and not putting himself in position where he can make costly turnovers, not just costly turnovers, but just dumb plays. I just feel more comfortable. I'm not going to say I'm not as worried when he throws the ball as I am when Jimmy G did.
Yeah, like because I remember Jimmy G, the last time that NFC Championship game against Green Bay, you only asked him to throw it 8 times. My other concern is Kyle Shanahan. We know how great he is as a play caller, but his clock management at times, I feel like he's going to do some dumb stuff like he did in those 2 Super Bowls. To that, you say what?
Well, I'll answer your first question about Dak. And well, you just extended him. So because you extended him, and that's a lot of dead money there if you cut him, that's not good business. So you have to recognize who he is. And if you recognize who he is, you got to put the pieces around him to play to his strengths. Stop putting him in a position. Stop putting him in a position where you're going to make him do more than what he is. That's the one thing that I think Kyle Shanahan is great at as a coach. Also, Harbaugh was great at that too. Whatever you know how to do, that's what we're doing. What you don't know how to do, we ain't doing that. I think that that's one of the plus sides. So I'm not thinking about moving off of that. I think that you got to put the pieces around him to enhance his game. So he shouldn't be throwing the ball 45 times. He should not be.
He shouldn't. And I think Dallas, they're going to have to do a thing with Zeke. Zeke says he's willing to take a pay cut. So that's a good thing right there. It saves you some money.
Yeah, I was going to get to that because Zeke doesn't look to me. He looks to me like
no, he doesn't look the same. He hasn't looked the same in the past couple of years. Coming out of Ohio State, he had a lot of speed and explosion.
Yeah,
but
burst
when
isn't
you
there
get
anymore.
when you get to those certain amount of touches, eventually he's going to wear you.
Yeah, I think that I think that he is, and I can't believe I'm saying this about a guy in Zeke who at one point was one of the better running backs in the league. He looks like he could be a really good third down and short yardage back and a really good red zone back. That's what he looks like he could be
right now.
And I think he could play a couple more years if you put him in that position. And if the offense was tailored that way, right? So I don't know if Pollard is I don't know what the plan is with Pollard moving forward, but I do think that he's a better back. Excuse me.
No,
I think he's a better back than Pollard. I think he's a better back than Zeke. Now, to answer your question about Shanahan and his clock management, you have to do a better job in managing the clock. You have to, especially when you're in games like this where your defense is going to have to stand on their head because I don't think Purdy's going to give me 35. I don't think he's going to give me 30 points. Now, if we're in a game where he gives me 24 points, I think that the defense can make it stick, but you have to do a better job in managing the clock and knowing. And I do think he did a good job at that with the Cowboys. How do I figure that? Because his play calling, where they started pounding the Cowboys and running the football and keeping that clock moving. Now, I thought Mitchell made a bonehead play running out of bounds at the end of the game instead of letting the clock keep running.
Right.
But I think that Shanahan definitely needs to improve at clock management because that could be costly later on. Yep, no doubt about it.
Will do, man. Take it easy, man. Enjoy the rest of the evening, brother.
You know where to find me at. I think we got a good shot going into Philadelphia. I do. I think we got a really good shot going into Philadelphia. I'm excited about what's going on this weekend. Brock Purdy, I'm looking forward to it, yo. I'm looking real forward to it, no doubt. What up? Can't hear you, B. Can't hear you. Nope. Can't hear you.
Hello?
Yep. Now you hot.
If you were to change any rule in the NBA today, what rule would you change?
What rule would I change in the NBA? Is there a specific rule that I'm not liking? That's a good question. Is there a specific rule that take foul rule is garbage? I'm not feeling that at all. I think that take foul rule is corny. Because a lot of guys, when I'm not trying to foul you to slow you up. I might be making a really legit effort at the ball.
Yeah.
But because it's now a quote unquote take foul, now you get the ball back and you get 2 free throws. I don't like that at all. I'm not feeling that.
What about like limiting like load management? Like only a player gets to rest like 3 to 5 games in a season, and like they can't take a rest when they're playing on like national television, like ESPN or whatever.
Oh, you can fix that real quick. You can put that in their contract. You got to, in order to get paid, these how many games you got to play.
Yeah,
you can fix that really quick.
Because like players missing, especially like players missing, taking rest days, especially when they're playing on national TV. Like, come on, that just kills the ratings. So like,
it does.
It should be like a stipulation if I'm being real.
It does, no doubt about it. It does. So, all right, brother. Good to talk to you.
You do.
Yep. How about you come cook me? How about that? That's how we get to the bottom of that. Feed the big. How about you come cook me? Goofy. Can you imagine, like, would it make you feel better? Like, I got Kobe Bryant at 11. Would it make you feel better if I had him at 10? How would that make you feel, yo? How would you feel about that if I had him at 10 instead of 11? Would that lessen the quote unquote cooking, would that make you feel better? Nah. And so where should I have him? Should I have him at 2? Top 5? No. Sorry. Then go get. I'll tell you what. Let's take it a step further than that. Feed the big. Go get somebody to cook me. Go ahead. How about that? So Sabonis was he was Joker. That's what Sabonis was. Before he got hurt, before injuries derailed him, he was Joker. That's who he was. And not only was he Joker, he was a better athlete. Before injuries slowed him down, that's who he was. He was Joker. And he was just as good a passer. He could shoot the long ball. He was good. He was just as good a one-on-one player, glass cleaner, playmaker, just as good as Joker. And injury slowed him. Not only did injury slow him down, he showed up to the league, right? He showed up to the league later on. So he was 30 years old when he showed up. So it wasn't like he showed up, he was 24 or 25 or something. Nah. So his best years, right? His best years were behind him. The EuroLeague got his best years. So if Sabonis, the injuries and him coming to the NBA when he came to the NBA, he would have been Joker. That's who Sabonis is. No doubt about it. Hey, turn your mic on, be easy. Andrew, you have no idea how good Sabonis was. None. To say you have no idea. You obviously have never watched Sabonis to say he wasn't at the level of passer that Joker was. Because yes, he was. Oh my goodness, he was. Sabonis was an elite passer. Sabonis wasn't a good passer. Sabonis was an elite passer. And to say that he wasn't at the level of Joker, no. I don't think you ever watched Sabonis. Ever. No way. Actually, this is actually a really good game. Really good game. So, really good game. I'm telling you, he would have been what you call it. I'm telling you, Imad. He would have been. So Sabonis that got on that Trailblazer team. So if you rewind the clock, I think he got on that Trailblazer team in like 95. So rewind the clock back 5 years. So take Duckworth off that unit with Drex and Buck Williams and Terry Porter and Jerome Kersey and put Sabonis on that unit at 25. Yikes. How awesome would that unit have been? My goodness. My goodness. Hey, Andrew, you can't be overrated if when you retired, you were numero uno all time in points per game. You can't be overrated when you retired, you were numero uno in rebounds per game. You can't be overrated when your team is the only team to beat the Celtics in the 60s. You can't be overrated when you're on a team that won the most games in NBA history and won the NBA championship. You can't be overrated when you did that. You can't be. So dead that logic. Kill it. I'm not buying that at all. Every major record in NBA history has Wilt's name attached to it. At one point, either he holds it or he held it. There's no other player who can say that. None. None whatsoever. So, what up? What up? And I'm glad you brought that other part up too, Andrew, about plumbers and firemen, because I think that's a testament to those guys. Well, OG, what do you mean that's a testament? Because think about Elgin Baylor, for example. You know, Elgin Baylor came in 4th place that year when Chamberlain went 50 and 26. Elgin Baylor came in 4th place that year in MVP votes. He went 38 and 18. He had a day gig. He was in the Army Reserve. So imagine if this was my gig full time, like Derrick Rose, like Michael Jordan, like Hakeem Olajuwon, where I will have nothing else to do but this. Like I ain't selling cars. I ain't selling cars in the off season. I'm just doing this. Imagine how much better I would be. So the plumbers and firemen logic, I think that is so dope, my man, because I think that's a testament to who these guys really were and how much better they could have been if this was all they could focus on. No doubt about that. So, yep. It's about that time for me, guys. It was good to see y'all tonight. Y'all know where to find me at. On Monday nights, I'm right here. On Tuesday nights, I'm on the panel. On Wednesday nights, I'm right here with you dudes. On Thursday nights, I'm right here again with Fluent and Chill and Playmaker. She changed her name, by the way. It's no longer Halftime Haley. It's Playmaker Haley, right? Playmaker Haley. So you guys know where to find me at. I am not hard to find. It was good to talk to you guys, and I will see you soon. But until then, take it light, but take it.